What is going on, everybody? Christian Ballard here, Ballard Sports Media. Let me fix this. Wanted to share that. For those of you who don't know, I will be joining Chess Hall this Friday. There we go. Got rid of that. I will be on his channel this Friday. A new show, the Unprofessional Sports Show. Go check it out. We talk sports unprofessionally, and yeah. So let me check something real quick. Let me make sure. But we are talking Alabama football tonight with special guest Neo. I'm going to wait and see if he gets in the chat. And then we can get it started. It looks like he's here. Hold on. It says that sorry, I had to refresh it real quick. So you're here, Neo. Let me put the link in here, and I'm just going to get Neo on, and we're going to talk some Alabama football. So tell you what, Neo, here's the link. You click that, and we can talk some Bama football. Shout out to you. Thanks for sending the email and getting in touch with me. Really do appreciate it. So, of course, I got my own opinions, but I'm here asking you the questions. So let's see who's in the chat. We got a typical Gump. He at least showed up earlier. Ballard, that's me. We got the Bet. Rylan White, of course, Neo. And it looks like that's it. Appreciate you guys showing up tonight. Really do appreciate it. And again, there's the link for the special guest, Neo. So whenever you're ready, feel free to click that, and we'll get you on. There's a typical Gump. So again, I got a couple questions for him. Because this is me interviewing him. Of course, when he's ready to come on. Of course, being an Alabama fan, I got my own opinions on this, but I want to get his perspective on Alabama going into the season. Of course, conference-only schedules. It's going to be a weird season. What's up, Crimson Brave? Link is not showing up. Let me try it again. Hold on. Invite. Did it show up this time? Let me know. But yeah, the Unprofessional Sports Show. I'm looking forward to it. This Friday, Chess Hall's channel. Be there or don't. Your choice. So that'll be this Friday. Tomorrow night, actually, on Chess Hall's channel at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. And I'm really looking forward to it. So hold on, let me fix this. Can you send Crimson to the ranch? What? What ranch? And here we got Neo in the back here. I'll add him on. What's going on, Neo?
Hey, how y'all doing?
We're doing well. How about yourself?
Doing all right.
Awesome. So real quick, talk a little bit about yourself. How long have you been an Alabama fan? And, was it a family thing? Did you go to Alabama? Like, how did that happen?
I did not go to Alabama, but my family, my parents were Alabama fans, and so yeah, I just got it from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I haven't gone to college yet. I'm not even going to Alabama, but I've probably been watching Alabama since I was like 4 or 5 years old, saying Roll Tide. I mean, it was even just a little bit before Saban got there. But it was kind of
Yeah.
funny. Uh, I would I was so young at the time. I'm like, I would say Roll Tide, then go to my bedroom and play with my toys, and that was about it. But now, if there's a game on, I sit down, I watch the game, I talk about the game. So
Well, I never actually really got into it good until about around the beginning of high school. When I was a kid, I really didn't care anything about it. I mean,
yeah,
so
I gotcha.
yeah,
There's a lot of, and we call them bandwagon fans. They're there until they lose. There's a lot of them out
yeah,
there.
yeah. I know
Listen,
about. I
I'm
know
not
what you're talking
against. Yeah, I'm not against bandwagon fans or anything, but it still can get annoying. It's like, well, Bama lost a game. Their dynasty's dead now. It's all over. There's a lot of people out there that are just like that.
about. And then they go switch to another team or something like that.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Clemson, hey, Georgia. you know,
No, I'm not. I'm not like that. I've been one ever since I've been into football. I've been an Alabama fan.
yeah, that's
So
awesome. So we look at last year for Alabama. Obviously, this was a team that went a total of 11-2. Their only losses to Auburn at Jordan Hare, and of course LSU in Tuscaloosa, who ended up winning the national title, going 15-0. I mean, LSU had a historic season last year. So when we look at it, they lost because the saying defense wins championships, and I'm sure you probably saw that Penn State Miami video I made or whatever. Looking back at that game, I'm trying to do these videos where I look back at old football games and analyze it and stuff. That's kind of where that you
yeah,
know saying came from. So I've heard, but there was a lot of inexperienced young players on defense last year, freshmen and sophomores who didn't get a lot of playing time or who were new to the team. Plus, you look at the loss of Dylan Moses, who people said he was a motivator and leader of the defense, but he was hurt all last year. He didn't play. But could this defense, I don't see how it could get any worse than it did last year because it gave up 46 points to LSU, and of course 48 to Auburn. Could it get any worse, or does it have to get better this year? Do you think?
I think it'll be better
Yeah,
this year than it was last year. I got number one thing. Dylan Moses is going to be back on defense this year, and he
yeah,
got hurt before the season started last year, so that kind of hurt us a lot. And he'll be back, and all these other players and you've probably heard it mentioned, all these other players that were freshmen last year have a year of experience now. So,
yeah, yeah,
and
absolutely. Because go ahead.
and they're recruiting like crazy. They're recruiting like crazy with the future classes. So,
Yeah, it was kind of funny.
yeah, I think we're
They had this guy commit a couple weeks ago. There's a receiver named Devontae Smith that we have coming back, and I'll get to that in a minute. There's also a cornerback named Devontae Smith. No relation, by the way.
right. Yeah, I've heard about that. And isn't there another player is it Devontae? Is it another? There was another player. It seems like I heard of that has the exact same name as a former player.
Um,
Um,
I'm not sure who.
I can't remember. I can't remember now, but I remember seeing it.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. So, but anyway, moving on a little bit. You know, So you don't see how the defense could get worse. It has to get better. Now, I think it gets better. I think that Nick Saban. Now, obviously, there was no spring camp and everything because of this whole virus. So there wasn't a whole lot of practice time. Now they're coming back and saying conference only. Here's a layout. Here's a couple weeks for you guys to have some fall camp or whatever. Uh, you know, do you think? I mean, I've heard news like, if there's anyone who's been on top of the team during the pandemic better than anybody, with everyone wondering if we're going to have a season, if there's one guy that's always prepared, it's Nick Saban. Uh,
Yeah.
you think he's probably been on top of those guys? I mean, I'm sure he has, but question is how much.
Okay. How much? What? I'm sorry. Repeat that. I
It was
apologize.
kind of a rhetorical question about Nick Saban being on his players with everyone. Like there hasn't been any practice, but if there's anyone who has been on top of his players, more than anybody during this pandemic, with everyone wondering what to do, it's probably Nick Saban. And I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
they probably do like Zoom calls or something we probably haven't heard about, but you know, I'm sure all these guys are at home working and getting ready for the season.
Yeah. He's a good motivator too.
Oh yeah, he is.
So
So
he'll,
you
he'll
know,
do what he can. With what he has, with what time he has, he'll do what he can to get them.
right? Yeah, and again, conference only schedules this year, so it's all SEC. I'm still waiting. I think we're all still waiting on. I think it's 10 games. They normally play 8 games that are their divisional opponents, plus their cross division um, rival in Tennessee for Alabama, and of course,
Well, that's 8 altogether. They play six. The six opponents in
oh
the
yeah,
West,
that's
and
right.
then
I
the
can
two
say
cross
that now.
divisional.
Yeah,
Yeah,
8 conference games.
because there's only seven.
And two of
There's only
those
seven
teams.
teams in each. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and for Alabama, they play LSU, Arkansas, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, A&M, Auburn. Those other 6 teams plus 2 other teams from the East. One being Tennessee, the cross divisional rival, and this year
Tennessee,
it's
and then they rotate with the others. Yeah, they
yeah,
rotate with the other one. Yeah,
yeah.
which this year
Well,
happens to be Georgia.
yeah. So, and speaking of, the question I was trying to get to was looking at their schedule. Um, of course, there's the Iron Bowl, there's LSU and everything. Uh, who do you see as the biggest threat to Alabama in 2020? I think it's Georgia. I think it could be LSU, but they lose so much as good of a team they might be. Auburn, I mean, the Iron Bowl's in Tuscaloosa. They haven't won there in 10 years. Possibly A&M. It could be, a turnaround year for Jimbo Fisher and this Aggies team. Who do you see being a big time threat this year for Alabama?
I agree with you. As far as the regular season, I think it's Georgia.
Yeah. I mean, they're recruiting so well, and Kirby Smart's got this team like going very far right now, and especially on defense.
I would say Georgia, then LSU, then Auburn,
Yeah.
in that
Um,
order.
yeah, I probably agree with those teams right there, and in that order as well.
Yeah.
So, and then looking at the team again, uh, what are your thoughts last year? Okay, Tua gets hurt against Mississippi State. he had got hurt a couple times that year with his ankles, right? As great of a player as he is, let's call it what it is, he is injury prone. But they had Mac Jones come in the last few games of the season. And I keep bringing this game up because I think it really showed the leadership of Mac Jones. Listen, I don't care if Alabama lost the Iron Bowl or not. Regardless of how the points got on the board for them, they put 45 up against a really good Auburn defense. So what are your thoughts on Mac Jones heading into this year and his leadership for this Alabama offense in 2020?
I think that he'll be. I think that he'll be improved from last year. I'm sure he's working on it, and I sure he'll be a really good job. So, um, do I think Bryce Young will play some? Yeah, but I think it's Mac's job to start off with, at least.
Yeah, I'm hearing. Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of news about Bryce Young, and now before this conference only thing happened, it was Georgia's week three, and that could be it because backup quarterbacks between these two teams recently and everything, and that could be the game. Bryce Young probably proves himself and takes over or whatever, But now it's like that's week one now, pretty much, so that's a little earlier. But I like Bryce Young. I think he's a good recruit, and I think he'll be pretty good at some point, and he might even have a chance this season. But we'll see.
I think that everybody's assuming it's going to be week one, but we don't know what they're going to do with this all SEC all conference schedule. We don't know what they're going to do with it. Will they keep it in the same order that it was supposed to be in, or will they change it?
Right.
They haven't said yet, so we really don't know. It may not be week one. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I haven't thought about it either. I really don't see why they would have the need really to change the order of it. I honestly think that if they go through with this conference only schedule like it's pretty much looking like they will, I think that it will eventually I think it'll play out the order that it's supposed to be. Georgia, I think next is like Ole Miss. I think I'll have to double check and look, but one thing that sticks out to me on the schedule is if you look before the Iron Bowl, the week before the Iron Bowl is normally a cupcake. They got A&M on the schedule before the Iron Bowl this year.
Yeah, the schedule's going to be tough with all SEC teams and nothing else. It's going to be tough, especially.
Yeah.
We got Tennessee. And there people are saying we may actually pick up Florida as well, which it's going to be a tough schedule.
It is going to be tough, and it's going to not only be a tough schedule for Alabama, it's going to be it's just going to be a weird college football season. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know about you, I really was looking forward to that USC game. We probably would have had a similar situation to what we had in 2016. What was that score? Like 50-0, 52-6, or something like that. It was a blowout. It probably would have been a blowout again this year, but it's opponents like that kind of you look at and say, it's a good school, it's a good team. Let's see what they're going to look like.
Personally, I think the score won't be that. If we had played USC, if it had been a regular season and we just played USC like we're supposed to, I don't think it would have been a blowout like it was last time.
Yeah, I think. I think
would have been more ready for us.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I think who's the coach? Clay Helton. He can recruit there really well. He can compete with some Pac-12 teams and everything. But it's a decent program. So I think it would have been a little different this time around.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, going into this year, there's a lot of talk about Najee Harris in this Alabama offense. I'm hearing so much stuff about Najee Harris, and he's returning for his senior year. He's going to have a breakout year. Najee Harris for the Heisman. I mean, Alabama under Nick Saban offensively, if you go back and look with like McElroy and you had AJ McCarron, I think. I mean, I pick any year before Tua. Even with Jalen Hurts, they were running the football quite a bit and, doing this RPO type of offense with like run pass options. Do you think with Tua gone, mostly with Najee Harris returning, being a really great running back, do you think they get back to running the ball a little bit more in 2020 and let him have a really good year?
I do. I agree with that totally. I mean, Mac is a pretty good passer, but he's no Tua Tagovailoa. So,
Right.
yeah, I think they'll mix it up a little more, and I don't think we'll be quite the fast scoring defense that we were last because of that. But I think Mac got the job.
Yeah. I think they air it out quite a bit. I mean, you also have guys like Jalen Waddle, who's going to be a junior, I think. Devontae Smith comes back for his senior year. I mean, there's quite a few receivers to work with as well that want to have a year like Najee Harris wants to have. So I think maybe it's 50-50. But, at the same time, I just think that I kind of think it's going to be 50-50. I think Mac Jones throws the ball around quite a bit, but I also think that, maybe they start off not going through the air with the, throwing the football at first. I think they let Najee Harris carry the ball quite a bit, and then, I think they mix it up, I think, basically.
Well, I had heard one of the conditions was Najee kind of promised that he would be featured a lot more than he was last year. So I think I somewhere. So that's why I'm saying.
Yeah, and I don't think this has anything. I don't think this whole getting back to running the football more has anything to do with the fact that Tua's gone. I think, listen, Mac Jones put up really good numbers last year. If you look back against teams like now, Western Carolina's a cupcake, right? That was the week after Tua got hurt. That's a cupcake. I'll give them a free pass for that. But look at Auburn. I mean, listen, again, regardless of how many points you gave up or scored, regardless of how they got there, they put up 45 points on Auburn, which had a really good defense last year. So, I mean, I just, I thought he did really great, but at the same time, I just think that Najee Harris is one of those players that you just want to give the ball to.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that it'll be all running, but no, because we have too many good receivers for that. But and Mac is a pretty good passer, I think.
Oh yeah, so, I think he proved that too.
Yeah.
And if you look at Mac Jones too, I'm pretty sure when he was recruited, he was a 3-star quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, to see what he has done at Alabama under Nick Saban, to see how he's grown, is awesome.
I agree. I didn't know he was a 3-star, but still, I agree.
Yeah. Looking at special teams, this is where it gets interesting because you and I both know, as much as every other Alabama fan there is, the kicking game has not been the best. That has been the thorn in the Nick Saban Alabama dynasty's side in the Nick Saban era is the kicking game. I mean, you go back, Cade Foster, Andy Papanastis. I've heard Crimson Brave has talked to me quite a bit about the kicking game, and he's like, I still think Papanastas was the worst. I think Joseph Bulovas was the worst. And I'm like, they're all kind of the worst, but they have this. Now, kickers aren't going to be 5 stars or anything, but there's a 3-star kicker that'll be a sophomore this year that will hopefully, if he's not hurt again, he was hurt last year, but I think he might get some. Yeah, Will Reichert is the guy. Do you think the kicking game improves with him as the kicker if Nick Saban chooses to put him over Bulovas?
Well, here's the thing: each kicker we seem to get lately is advertised as a really good kicker, and it's like a curse or something. Once they get to Alabama, they're not any good. So
right.
I'm hoping. I think Will Reichert could be the answer, but I can't. Due to recent history, I can't really do that.
Oh yeah, I can tell you about some recent history. Listen, we were 3 seconds away against Georgia. If that was only 36 yards out, he just.
Melissa May says Jalen Waddle is a beast. Yeah. He is. He is.
Hold on, I got Chess Hall back here. He's wanting me to let him on for a quick second. You cool with that?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna put you on, Chess. You're on.
Yeah, not to interrupt you guys or anything. Hey, Neo, how you doing, buddy?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good, always, like always. Ballard, sir,
what?
One more day, baby. One more day.
Yes.
I'm ready, man. I just gotta say, you guys tune in tomorrow night at 10 p.m. the Unprofessional Sports Show. Be there or be square.
I might be there. I might.
You better be there, sir.
Anyways, I plan on being there, Chess.
Always. That's good. Thank you, Neil. With our special guest, ACP Carter. Y'all come watch tomorrow. I love all you guys. And woo!
Thanks, Chess. All right, now back from the back from the advertisements. Melissa May says, I don't ever put any faith in our kickers. I mean, it seems to have been getting that way. I mean, listen, Bulovas, see, here's the thing about Joseph Bulovas and our kickers, I think, is when the game's on the line or there's a lot of pressure to make a kick, that's where I think the problem comes in. Because, listen, they can make an extra point, but, I mean, Bulovas struggled with that, I think, once or twice. But, they can make an extra point, 30 yards out, you're up maybe 7-0. They get a stop on 4th down or something. They hold you to a field goal. You kick it there. But if the game's on the line, Alabama's kicking game has it's been out of sorts.
I wonder if it's just the pressure that they're put under.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I think it's all about pressure. They just can't handle pressure. And I think that's the big question about Will Reichert, because I've seen his highlights. He looks like he could probably kick a 50-yarder. He could probably kick a 40-yarder or something.
I saw a video where he kicked a 65-yarder.
That far? 65 yards?
I saw it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Man. The question is, but here's the thing. I don't know if it was under pressure or not. So how are we going to know?
It was practice.
It was just practice?
Yeah.
So, still, that's the key question I have for Will Reichert is, we know you can kick it. I've seen you kick it. I know you can kick a 40-yarder, 50-yarder, 60-yarder, whatever. Can you do it with a second, 4 seconds in an Iron Bowl or LSU? Can you do it in a big game when there's pressure and everyone is watching you?
And the game is on the line because of
it. Yeah. Because, see, that's a whole other story, because that's when kickers get nervous. And we've seen a lot of kickers make some game-winning field goals. I know some Bama history. I wasn't born yet, not even close. But go back to the Iron Bowl in 1985 with Van Tiffin. Look at that game.
Yeah.
52-yarder to win the Iron Bowl.
Yeah.
So
I know. I saw that game. Yeah.
Ballard Sports Media.
I'm old enough. I'm old enough to where I saw that game. What's that, Ballard?
Ballard Sports Media.
Who's that?
Oh no. Is this Crimson Brave?
Is that?
It's got to be Crimson Brave trolling me here.
That's what I'm thinking.
Uncle Lou says multiple Gumps opting out of 2020. That's another thing. What about these players that are saying they don't want to play this year? What are your thoughts? And do you think that we have enough guys that can step up?
I haven't heard who's opting out. As far as well, I don't know who's opting out. I haven't heard anything about that yet. I mean, I know some players from other teams, but I haven't. Uncle Lou, I haven't heard anything about any Alabama players opting out. So as far as I'll agree with Uncle Lou's sentiment on that. If it's because of COVID that they're doing it, not wanting to get it, I can't disagree with it.
Yeah, you can't blame them for that. You can't blame them for that. And I'm sure it's probably not like big time players. Maybe it's a couple second stringers that say, I wonder if there's second string players opting out and saying, I'm not starting anyway. I mean, but
well, if it's just because I don't know. I mean, I don't know who's opting out, so I can't really give an opinion there. If you're talking about specific players, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not really certain on who all is really opting out for the Tide this year. So looking back at defense real quick, what do you think will be better for the Tide? The secondary being like the corners and the safeties, or you think it's going to be the defensive front with the tackles and the linebackers?
Well, here's where I'm going to look like an idiot because I hear about players, but I don't know much about which group of those is better than the other. I'm not real sure. I don't know enough about football to. I mean, I'm a football fan, and I know the basics of the game, but as far as positions, the more obscure positions like inside linebacker, I know what that is. I don't know what they do.
Yeah, I don't really know. I think for me, I personally have more confidence. Not to say I'm lacking confidence or whatever. I just think that maybe the defensive front, you got DJ Dale, you got this Justin, your boy Bay. I don't know how you say that. LeBron Ray, Phildarian Mathis. I mean, there's quite a few names to get to know if you don't know already on the defensive line. Plus, you think linebackers kind of come up front as edge rushers too. So I really think the defensive front, the defensive line will be a little bit better, but I think it's all going to work out in the end, and I think the defense overall is going to improve.
I'm under the impression that the defense will improve. I just can't get into specifics like that. I don't know enough.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to see.
What I hear, basically.
Yeah, I really don't know either. I just have a feeling defensively, Nick Saban is going to have they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. They will most likely be ranked 3 or 4 in the preseason poll. Actually, hold on, because I think the preseason poll was just released today, actually.
the coaches poll is, yeah.
The
Alabama's
coaches poll. It doesn't. Yeah, that doesn't really count. But
no, it doesn't.
yeah, no.
I don't know about I don't know about the AP poll. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to be ranked number one, I don't think. And if they are, I don't think they'll stay there for long. I think they'll be good enough to, but I just have a feeling that they'll have some things to figure out. Maybe a team like Ohio State is performing very, very well at the start of the season. Maybe Clemson takes a lead and goes up to number one. So they'll kind of be somewhat of an underdog. They already are right now. They are a favorite for the national title. But when you look at Ohio State, you look at Clemson, you look at Georgia, who are all right there with Alabama. You know, they got some teams to deal with in the way. So, I mean,
here's something I've thought about that I've thought about recently. Georgia and Alabama, they play in the regular season.
mm-hmm.
If the season is completed, I mean, if we play a complete season, and if Alabama wins the West, they'll have to play Georgia again. So if Alabama beats Georgia in the regular season, it's just going to be that much harder to beat them again in the
exactly
SEC championship.
Right, because we've seen these teams play a couple times in recent years in the national title and the SEC title. We have not seen them meet twice in 1 year. So how does Georgia handle that? Because look at 2017. When Auburn won the Iron Bowl, not only did they beat Alabama, they won the West and went to Atlanta. They blew Georgia out. What was it, like 40-17, I think was the score in that game at Jordan-Hare? And they went to Atlanta, and Georgia beat them.
The regular season.
Yeah.
Auburn beat them in the regular season, and then Georgia blew them out in the SEC championship game.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not going to be an easy path for Alabama. They might get to Atlanta, but if they're facing Georgia again after beating them to start the season, I mean, if all things go Georgia's way and that's their only loss, and they've looked flawless since or looked like a championship contender since, Bama might need to watch out a little bit. But
if they lose to Alabama, if they lose to Alabama in the regular season and beat everybody else, they still win the East. So
yeah, they do, and they go to Atlanta.
Now, and some people are predicting this, if Florida were to happen to step up and win the East, but we may end up playing Florida in the regular season too. So
yeah, that'll be really interesting if we have to play both of those teams and then face either one of them in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So that will really be interesting. Now, do you see? Let's look at LSU again. I think I might have already asked this, but in what way does LSU? They won't be what they were last year, but they have some key guys coming back. But could they? Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I went to a different room. What was I saying? LSU, right? They come off this awesome season. We get them in Death Valley this year. They'll be great, but they won't be what they were last year. Are they a threat to Alabama this year? Do you think?
They can be. I think they still have a lot of talent. I don't know that they'll beat them, but you never can tell. It'll be a close game. I think it'll be a close game. Alabama won't blow them out, and I don't
Yeah,
think they'll
I
blow
don't think they'll blow them out either.
I
Now,
don't think I don't think I don't think LSU will blow Alabama out either, and I don't think Alabama will blow LSU out. I think it'll be a
yeah,
close
and I don't
game.
think, and it won't be any high scoring like we saw last year because the score was 46-41, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it might be something like maybe 21-20 or something, 21-14. I don't know, but I don't think LSU's offense won't be as elite. Bama's defense is going to be really great this year, I think. So I mean, they LSU is going to compete. I think I have them like 10-2. Of course, now that record's kind of changed now with less games, but when I was doing
Yeah.
the preview videos, I put them 10-2, losses to Florida and Alabama this year. But I think they'll be a good
Okay.
team, and you never want to you never want to sleep on LSU in a game against Alabama because that has been a defensive type of game year in and year out.
Yeah.
Except last year it was offense, but
Every game. Well, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
even last year was a close game, though.
yeah, it was. And you got to think
Last year was still a
Bama
close
was
game.
down 20. Bama was down 20 points in the first half too.
Yeah. Every game lately against LSU has been close, except for that 29-0 win that we back in was it 2018?
That was 2018 when they
That's
went
the only
14-1.
blowout. 29-0. 29-0.
Yeah, so Saban likes speaking of, because that was the same year they went on and they got blown out by Clemson. Now, I really hate to bring that up, but man, at the same time, they ever since then, people said, is the dynasty starting to fall apart? You know, is it starting to show some cracks or something? You know, is it starting to break? And of course, they end up going 10-2 the year after, but defense since
Hang on,
then.
Ballard. I'm having trouble with my headphones. I'm not hearing you. Hang on just a minute. I may have to take the headphones off. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm connected. Okay, I'll just have to take these off.
Okay.
Okay, try talking.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'll have to tune this up to where I can. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I forgot what I was trying to say. I mean, except for last year. Oh, yeah. Except for last year, it's kind of been a defensive battle between LSU and Bama. You know, it's always been like that. Go back starting in 2011, 9-6, you know. Do you see it being like that with LSU losing everything on offense? You know, do they slow it down against Alabama's defense this year? Does Bama's defense step it up? Does it go away? What happens late in the year for Alabama if they meet a team like LSU?
I don't think it'll be another 9-6 type of game.
Right.
That's a good question. I think it'll be close, but I think it'll be a higher scoring game than 9-6. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it'll probably be in like the 20s or 30s, I think. somewhere in there, but I don't think it's not going to be like that 7 overtime game LSU had against Texas A&M. I'll tell you what, I don't know who stayed up for that. Probably the people in the stadium.
Georgia could be a very defensive game, though.
Oh yeah, that's it's been that way. I mean, I know
Georgia has one of the best defenses in the country, and that's gonna be tough.
Yeah. So here's another thing. Speaking of fans, we talk about college football and stadiums and atmospheres. Tuscaloosa is one of those big ones. With no fans in the stands this year, how will that affect Alabama against these tough opponents at home?
I thought about that. It's going to be weird for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought about it. All I've thought is that's just going to be strange. Watching that on the TV or something and not hearing the roars of the crowd, that's just going to be weird.
Do they play that? No one's going to be singing Rammer Jammer. Do they just play it through the speakers, I guess, maybe if they win?
I don't know, because I don't know how they're going to do the band and all that stuff either.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
You know what I think they should do with the players, although crap, it would be ridiculous to keep going up in the bleachers, but I was going to say for social distancing purposes, spread them out in the empty bleachers and just call them down to the field when you need to change to defense or offense. But it would be ridiculous just running up and down the entire game.
Yeah. What does that say? Okay, Neo rocking the script. Hey,
I think sorry about your shirt.
Oh, I see. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Let's see. Go ahead.
That's all I have to say about it. It's just going to be weird. I don't know I'm not sure what kind of reaction. I mean, what kind of effect it will have on the players.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know the players feed on the energy of the crowd sometimes, and the home team does. But so it may be different.
Yeah. The Bet has a question. Ask, what was your first Alabama game that you went to?
Well, I've only been to 2, Bet, and first one was 1993 against Mississippi State.
Wow.
I mean, it wasn't anything. I mean, it was fun and all. It just, but it was 1993 against Mississippi State. We did win the game. And the only other one I went to was right before I moved to Dallas, the year before I moved to Dallas, when they played Vanderbilt. I think it was 2011. They played Vanderbilt first game of the season. Yeah. Those are the only 2 I've ever been to. And I never have enough money to get, to go to the games. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I live in Florida, so I mean, I can't just go up on any given weekend during the football season or anything. And I mean, I've still haven't been, but I'll find some time soon, maybe in a few years.
Yeah. Well, I could have done that if I'd had the money. I just never had the money to do it.
Right. It's ridiculous how the bigger the game, because people always want to go to like LSU or Tennessee or Auburn or whatever. Those are expensive.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I mean, they're ridiculously expensive. I've looked at it and I'm like, how can people afford this every year?
I don't know. Season ticket holders, how do they do it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would agree with Jeff Webster. Bama sells about 18,000 student tickets. They have to let students in at least.
Yeah.
I mean, there won't be no Taco Bell student section probably, but
probably all that's going to be allowed is the students and the season ticket holders.
Do you think they do what baseball's been doing with cutout fans, cardboard cutout fans?
No. I haven't heard anything like that.
I haven't
not sure
either,
what to
but
think.
it wouldn't be too bad of an idea.
I don't know. I mean, would that really help? I mean, would it really have that much effect?
I mean, put crowd noise in the background. I don't know. That might
But
help.
I saw a clip of a baseball game with where they had the cardboard cutouts.
It's crazy.
It's weird looking.
Yeah, it is. I saw where Korean baseball had like stuffed animals and robots for fans.
Yeah.
It was so weird. It was cool, but it was kind of weird too. But
Right.
yeah, it'll be different for Tuscaloosa. And tailgating's such a big thing there too. So I mean, if you can't let them in the stands, you can't let them tailgate with all the how close cars can be and barbecuing and all that. There's a tent here, a tent there, a tent.
Right.
Everyone's so close together, and a lot of people love to tailgate in Tuscaloosa, I hear.
Yeah. There's not going to be any of that, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be any of it either, whatsoever. So, but we'll see what happens. I think college football season is pretty much good to go. I mean, we got conference only schedules. So here's something we're so used to seeing the Iron Bowl the weekend of Thanksgiving. How weird is it going to be now that that's probably being moved for the Iron Bowl? Because listen, in my lifetime, I've always seen it the Saturday after Thanksgiving. I don't want to have a Thanksgiving weekend without seeing Auburn play Alabama. You know what I mean? But if it has to happen, it has to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, the only way they could do that is to not have it the last game of the year. And I want I want Auburn to be the last game of the year,
Right.
the last regular season, is what I meant to say.
Yeah, because see, I like having Auburn to close out the season. Save the best game for last. Um, and but at the same time, man, like I just said, Thanksgiving weekend without an Iron Bowl,
Yeah.
that's weird. So, and speaking of let's talk about the Iron Bowl. So someone in the comments, welcome to the stream, James Road Haver. What Iron Bowl game is your favorite? I was just fixing a you can share that real quick and then we'll talk a little bit more about the Iron Bowl.
Which Iron Bowl game was my favorite? That's a good question. Wasn't last year, that's for sure.
Yeah. I'd probably say 2009 with McElroy and throwing up church. That's probably the best Alabama's had. I mean, listen, they can win some good Iron Bowls in Tuscaloosa, and even in Auburn, they can
you're
win
talking about
one.
You're talking about the 2012 game, right?
No, it's 2009, the year they went 14-0. But remember, McElroy threw it to Roy Upchurch.
You're right. You're right.
That was a good one.
I got my years mixed up. Yeah, it was 2009. Yeah, that was definitely a good one. Because Auburn went ahead 14-0, and or was it even 21-0? No, I think it was just 14-0, and then Alabama scored and Auburn scored. I don't know, but yeah, that was a good game.
Yeah, it was.
As far as which one's my favorite, I really hadn't thought about it.
Yeah, I don't. That might be as far as like a good game. I mean, Alabama wins quite a few of them, but and speaking on the rivalry, what is it? To you personally, does it mean anything? I mean, I know Bama fans and Auburn fans treat this game and it's hate week, and it's like, I mean, it means so much to both fan bases. You kind of get along. There's some things you have in common, and it's like, hey, hate your team. Hey, hate yours too. What does the Iron Bowl kind of mean to you? It being a big rivalry and all.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's definitely the biggest game of the year in most cases. As far as what it means to me personally, it's just a fun rivalry game. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
you know, I'm not a typical fan, and that absolutely just hate the other team. I mean, even Auburn. I can't say. I mean, yeah, I want us to always win against Auburn, of course, and it's a fun. To me, it's just a fun rival. I don't. Yeah, I get upset when they lose. But
it's all fair.
I don't have any hate for any team really.
Yeah.
I know that's weird. That's weird to most people, but I really don't.
Right.
Some people may say I'm not a real Alabama fan.
There's a lot of Alabama fans out there that get called fake Alabama fans, I'm sure.
Well, I've been one since I've been in football, interested in football. So, but I guess my reaction, not my reaction, my emotions toward other teams just not the same. Yeah. Alabama fans are supposed to hate Auburn. I can't say I necessarily like them, but I don't hate them.
Yeah. You don't agree, but you don't hate, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Hey, I got Auburn fans in my family. Really nice people. I don't like their team, but I love them. They're family. So I mean,
yeah,
it's one of those rivalries. It's not even arguments about the Iron Bowl during rivalry week. It's just jokes. Auburn fans want to bring up the kick six, or like this year they'll bring it up like, hey, remember last year you couldn't kick that field goal and you gave up 48 points. I mean, you joke around with it, but at the same time, you got respect.
Right. Well, generally, I don't even know if you'd call it respect for most fans.
Right.
I think it is probably genuine hate for most people.
Yeah. What did Bear Bryant called it one time? It's like, yeah, I'd love to win a championship, but nothing matters more than beating that cow college on the other side of the state, I think is what he said one time.
I know that quote. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what about you? How do you feel about? Or you just feel the same? I mean, how do you feel about the Alabama-Auburn rivalry? What does it mean to you?
I mean, I think, listen, now it's a debate whether or not it's the biggest rivalry in college football. I think we can all agree as Bama and Auburn fans, it is. Like, we can say, oh, yeah, it's the biggest rivalry. Yeah, I would hate to lose to Auburn, or Auburn's like, I would hate to lose to Bama or whatever. At the end of the day, you got respect for the fans, you got respect for the players and the coaches. You hate the team overall because it's just how it is. But at the end of the day, after all the fighting and everything during the game, during the weekend and everything, you have respect. You give them credit where credit is due, and you move on with it.
Yeah.
I think is what it is.
Now, I live in Dallas now, so I've been around another really big rivalry game, the Texas and Oklahoma game.
Oh yeah, the Red River rivalry.
That's played in Dallas every year.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of I've kind of been around it. I haven't been to a game, one of those games, but I have been, around to hear what. I've seen the two, two fan bases come into town, and it's pretty. It's intense, but it's not like Alabama and Auburn here.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, listen, we talk rivalries and stuff. I mean, there's an Army-Navy game. See, I don't even view that as a rivalry. Now, people who pull for either of those teams might get mad at that statement. I don't see it as a rivalry. I see it as a traditional game played every year to recognize those who serve. I even made a video about the game last year, just that weekend, yeah. And I'm just like, hey, if you serve, thank you. That's kind of what this game is to reflect.
Right.
But some people call it a rivalry. Maybe it is because it's traditionally played, and because it's so big. But there's certain games and matchups that did you see my video about, like, is Georgia and Alabama a rivalry? Did you see that one too?
Yeah, I did. I think I saw that one.
Yeah, see, because there's teams that have history, but that's different from being a rivalry.
Yeah,
So,
Georgia
I mean,
and Alabama, they haven't played enough for it to really be a rivalry.
right. Now they've had some recent years in recruiting and stuff and controversy, but that doesn't make it a rivalry. That just means there's some tension, there's some conflict or some controversy or whatever, I guess. There's talk about it.
I listened to somebody today. They were talking about that rivalry, or about rivalries in general. And I know who it was. It was Pigskin Pete.
It
I
was
was listening to his stream from last night while I was working today, and he talked about Alabama and Tennessee was not a rival. I think he's talking about. I think he's referring to rivalries probably as
competitive.
I think he's referring to rivalries as teams that play each other real close or something like that, and there's more of a
And he said
more intensity because of close games. I don't know, but he doesn't think Alabama and Tennessee is a rivalry. He kind of laughs at that. He says Alabama and Tennessee is not a rivalry.
Listen, I get Alabama's beat Tennessee 14 years in a row here, but it's still traditionally played. It's still one of those games that's like,
it's a rivalry.
Listen, oh yeah, it is. Ask Bear Bryant about it.
Yeah.
Ask him about it. There's some history in the Bear time in the 90s. Even in the Nick Saban era, there's been some close games. Last year was only a two touchdown game. You remember 2009 when Terrence Cody blocked that kick?
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That was Lane Kiffin's 1 year at Tennessee.
What's up, Dwayne? Yeah, I remember that. That was crazy.
Hey, Dwayne RTR.
Well, I don't really have any other questions or anything. I'll ask the chat if they got any other questions for you, but do you have anything else to say real quick?
No, I don't think so.
Just hoping for a season?
Huh?
Just hoping for a season.
I didn't hear you.
Oh, I was just saying, just hoping for a football season.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously as Bama fans, so here's something else. Can Alabama afford another year without a title? Because I have a feeling they're just going to call the dynasty dead right then and there if they go 3 straight years without one.
Yeah, in that case, as far as the dynasty goes, yeah, I would have to, if they don't win it within this year, maybe next year, yeah, I would say there's no more dynasty.
Yeah, listen, they'll still be a top program, but it won't be like they'll have to start a new dynasty or something. Listen, if they don't win it this year and Saban's still there years after, they could get back to winning it and start something back up or whatever. And maybe we're sitting there like, okay, maybe it's not dead. Maybe they just haven't had it in them. Now they got it back, whatever. But I don't see how Alabama, not necessarily, I'm not going to sit here and say they can't afford a loss. I'm just saying they gotta win a national title sometime soon, and for them to be 2 or 3 in the polls, not at the top, and to be an underdog behind Ohio State and Clemson, that should give them motivation this year, I think, and I think it will.
Yeah, the dynasty is close to being gone.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm gonna say it's not dead yet, but it's getting there. If they don't win another win,
Yeah, if they don't get it in gear, it's just going away, you know.
and if we come back sometime after that and win several more titles, I could say it's reborn. I don't know.
Right. It's like, hey, now the dynasty's back. We won a title. But well, Neo, you came on here. You talked some Alabama football for over an hour with me, and I think you did pretty well.
Well, appreciate it. Like I
Yeah.
told you, I'm not a very good conversationalist, but I will answer questions.
Hey, I'm not the best at it either, man. I try, but
Well, all right, but I enjoyed it.
yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. I really do appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else you want to say before we let you go?
Just everybody be safe and roll tide.
Roll Tide. Thanks.
All right.
There you have it. Alabama fan Neo coming on here. Mr. Randall Anderson coming on here tonight talking some Alabama football with me. Really do appreciate you showing up, sir. We talked quite a bit about rivalries. We talked about what Alabama needs to do this year defensively. Special teams needs to improve, obviously. We talked quite a bit. And, of course, some of you guys asked questions. And shout out to you, Neo. Thanks so much for coming on. I really do appreciate it. Join RTR. No Ballard outsiders talk about Dynasty. True Bama fans enjoy the accomplishments. Who cares what others say? No team can win year in and year out. I would agree with that. I mean, it's cool to have that kind of title, dynasty, but at the same time, I mean, define dynasty. Are we talking about winning back-to-back titles? Is it what you can do in a certain time period, like Saban winning half a decade, 5 and 10 years? You know, I mean, define dynasty. I mean, that's all I'm trying to say. I mean, but I don't care if people say Alabama's dynasty is dead or not. I mean, I don't care. Call it whatever you want to. But, I mean, listen, are they a premier program? Yes. Are they one of the best? Yes. Are they still here? You better know it. So, I mean, it is what it is. But you make a good point, Dwayne RTR. Anyway, so shout out to Neo for coming on again. Really do appreciate you coming on and talking Alabama football with me for over an hour. Really do appreciate it. Shout out to A Typical Gump, The Bet, Rylan White, of course, Neo, Dwayne RTR in here. We had Uncle Lou, Crimson Brave, James Roadhaver, The Bet, Brad Pitt, Melissa May, TikTok Chess Hall. By the way, tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, on Chess Hall's channel. Go sub him up. Go watch the Unprofessional Sports Show tomorrow night, about 24 hours from now. 25, actually, really. A little less than that. But Unprofessional Sports Show tomorrow night. Really looking forward to it, Chess. You know, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. So, anyway, appreciate all you guys for showing up tonight. And again, shout out to Neo. Thank you for coming on tonight, sir. Talking some Alabama football. Looking forward to a good football season. And I will see you guys next time. I'm not sure if I'm going to go live myself tomorrow night. But again, Unprofessional Sports Show podcast on Chess Hall's channel tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. I'll be there. And hopefully you will too. Appreciate everyone for showing up. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks much for watching and tuning in. Thanks again to Neo for coming on and doing a stream. Really do appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time. Until then, Ballard Sports Media, checking out. Y'all have a good one.